This is the Nerd Coalition. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And now, feel the Nerd. So you know it's time that I gotta talk about the new horror movie that just hit theaters. Horror has been taking a really, having a really fun time in the theaters in 2025. I'm actually surprised of how many horror movies I actually went to the movie theater and actually enjoyed this year, opposed to other years. So when this movie was coming, well, I heard about this movie, I said I had to see it. And the movie I'm talking about is Weapons. Weapons is directed by Zach Cregger, who you probably most know as the director who directed Barbarian. Now here's the thing. I didn't see Barbarian, but I do know Barbarian's up on Netflix. And after seeing this, I'm going to go and watch Barbarian and check this out. I heard a lot of people say that, I hear a lot of mixed opinions about this. And I was like, well, I haven't even seen Barbarian. Now here's the thing. This movie had an interesting premise that I was automatically sucked into. So this is the description that they have on IMDb. When all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanished on the same night at the exact same time at 2:15, a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. I saw the teaser trailer months ago. It just came, it was like called Weapons. And then when I heard the premise about these kids just wake up in the middle of the night and they run off into the dark and never to be seen again, I'm automatically curious. It's like, what happened? That's the natural question everybody's going to ask, right? What happened to these kids? Why did they just run off? Were they kidnapped? Are they being sex trafficked? Like what is it? Okay? And I was really pounding my head about what's going to be. Now, I'm glad that after seeing the movie, I did not see the second trailer. I only watched the teaser. I only reacted to one trailer. I did not see the second trailer because when I went back and watched it, it revealed way too much. And I was like, whoa, I would have been like, oh, I see all this stuff coming. I'm glad. I'm so glad I didn't do it. There's certain trailers I'm like, okay, I can do one or two trailers, but there's some I got like just the teaser and that's it. And that's how it was for Sinners. I did just one trailer, just one teaser trailer, and that was it. And I went in here with a clear, fresh mind. I know a lot of people out here was excited about this movie, and it's supposed to be the horror movie of the year and things like that. So I'm gonna give you guys personally how I felt about this story, and something I probably didn't like about the story. And one of the things, obviously, is that how it does not take a linear format of the story. We get a POV type story, a point of view. So we have 6 point of views that we're going on through this story. And they consist of Justine, Archer, Paul, James, Andrew, and Alex. So we get 6 perspectives of the movie where they all go into different things. And first off, so here we go. So Justine is played by Julia Garner. So we just seen her as the Silver Surfer in the most recent Fantastic Four movie. So she is the teacher that has the classroom that all these kids disappeared in. And then now she is a good teacher, but she has kind of like a dark past also. And then the community is automatically blaming her because they need something to blame, whether they're terrorizing her and whether they're trying to scare her or trying to confess to something that she doesn't know anything about, which leads her to drinking and a lot of other stuff like that. And you get that perspective of it, and I think that she was really good in the movie. I really liked her character because you could tell how damaged she was, how much this was getting to her, because like the whole community turned on her because it was only her classroom that disappeared. Josh Brolin plays Archer, who he's a dad, but he's like a hard-nosed dad. He doesn't tell his kids that he loves them, but then when now it's just they all missing, it's like he could feel that he feels so guilty about that. He wants to find us to be able to tell him that I do love him, but he's the aggressive father, like kind of leading the charge amongst all the parents of saying that we need to find out what happened to these kids, and she is the one that has done this. Then we get to the character of Paul, played by Aiden Ehrenreich, who was also in Ironheart just this past, because that was recorded earlier, but just played in Ironheart. And he plays this police officer named Paul. And we get there are some point of views. I was thinking to myself, like, does it need to be this long, or could this have been a little bit shorter? That's how I feel about certain of them. And when it comes to Paul, and then the next one, known as James, plays by Austin Abrams, who plays like a crackhead or a meth head who's strung out on drugs and who just wants to steal everything to sell it. He is the comic relief in the movie. And honestly, the movie had a lot more time being funny than it needed to be. But he is kind of, I actually enjoy all his scenes in there, but I do think that some of these perspectives could have been a little bit shorter and given a little bit more time to other characters. Then we get to Benedict Wong, who plays Andrew, who's the school principal, and we get his point of view. Now, along with all these things, I was sitting there thinking like, wow, we got the whole MCU up in this movie. But along with all that, I was liking how I was so into somebody's point of view, and then when something happens, we switch and almost kind of go backwards to see how we get to the point right now. That when you really into it, sometimes that can get a tad bit annoying. But I think one of the most point of views is when they talk about this boy Alex. Alex is the little boy that's the only child that was left in Justine's classroom. So why was he the only kid left? What is the reasoning behind that? And what is also that he's going through? I thought his stuff was very, very interesting, and I was really interested in his point of view. And then some, when I was looking back at it, I was like, once again, some could have been a little bit longer, and some could have been a little bit shorter when it comes to people's point of view. Overall, I felt as though this was a really, really good movie. This is one of my tops in 2025, especially when it comes to horror movies. I'm not saying it's the best horror movie that they have ever made, okay? I'm not saying it's the best horror movie this year.
Sure.
But I am saying is you need to go out here and check out this movie and see it. Now, there are some things that I was like, to me, this is not explaining well too much to me. And I was like, what is the reasoning for some of these things? And I had to, when I came, I had to go to like see an ending explain video to try to map out like, hey, what's going on here so I can get my own sense. I'm going out to see it again. And I was like, I want to go back and see if I can clear it. Because you always see things better on the second time when you do that. But like I said, not to give no spoiler away, because this is a movie that you really need to see and you really got to pay attention to as well. But there are some other characters in here, and then you start figuring out, like we start getting to the why and stuff like that. And I thought the build up leading up to that was excellent. When we get to about the third episode like that, it kind of feels a little anticlimactic. Like, I would say that it's a bittersweet, satisfying kind of ending. I think that would be like the best way to go about it, to be honest with you. I'm not necessarily sure how I would word it, to be honest with you, but I think that's the best way I feel as though I can go about it. And it's like, because, you know, and sometimes in the theater that I was in, we was laughing a little bit way too hard at that ending, okay? Because the ending is wild. Batshit wild, okay? And also, I was so into the mystery and the drama of it, and I thought at some points they were like, oh, snap. We're a horror movie. We got to add this to it. Enter in jump scare here. Okay, scary enough for you? That's how I felt about how the movie was with like the horror elements. Some worked, and I'm not saying all the horror elements did not work, but there was some to me I was like was forced in here, and I was like, it's in here to be, because it's a horror movie. We gotta show some kind of horror elements too. We gotta have kind of some jump scares in there, because I was more into the mystery of the story opposed to anything else. But there are a couple of jump scares in here. There is one scene in here that I think I'm going to talk about on spoilers. There is one scene in here that I was just like, that, as simple as it was, freaked me out. It had something to do with the house and the door opening. That's all I'm going to say. But that scene, it creeped me out. Okay, and I was like we was all in the theater just like, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. And for some reason, it was so simple. But it was the creepiest part. One of the creepiest parts, if not one of the scariest parts in the movie. I mean, for those, it's a non-spoiler review, but if y'all know, you know. So overall, what do I give Weapons? I give Weapons a definitely buy it on physical edition, because I would definitely go out there when it comes out on Blu-ray. I will go out there and pick it up. Yes, I still collect physical media, if y'all could not tell. So it's a great time. I think you should go out there and see it. Since I didn't see the second trailer and I didn't see Barbarian, I know some people said they like Barbarian a little bit better, but I was just like, look, for right now, I'm introduced to this director. I enjoyed this a lot. I can't say I've been one in the boat that felt as though this is going to be the biggest horror movie of the year, but I felt as though that this was a really good horror movie, and I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorites of 2025. So if you're watching the YouTube version, post in the comments down below how'd you like it. What was one of the scariest or disturbing scenes to you in that movie? No spoilers, okay? I think I will talk about spoilers on podcast because me and Lady Sketch are going to go check it out. So on the podcast, I'm going to have a spoiler version of it. So make sure you guys check that out on the podcast version, because we're going to probably go into that, you know, either next or on the next podcast. But for YouTube, if you guys make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share for this. Always, I appreciate I appreciate all your effort and all the things you do to help this channel out. So once again, this is NC, the place to be. Chill, Mr. A&D, and the Nerd Coalition is out.